if it has no protein, I don't want it.
'Cause I can have a really low quality burger, like I mentioned, on a massive bun, and it'll be 1,000 calories. I've mentioned before, I like that gauge of more protein than fat.
What's cool is you can always make it based off of what you need.
All right, now for a third question out of the mailbag. What are some of your high protein, low cal meal suggestions, especially come dinner time?
Yeah, this is a great one. And what I love about this question, it was actually from one of my awesome clients. I shared it into our Telegram group. I've got like a nice little chat with all my clients who are all on the same page, right? Everyone's trying to get to the next level. Everyone just wants a supportive community. And it's just amazing. People share tips, recipes, mindset things, and it's just great. So with that, this question is awesome because I know a lot of times people kind of get stuck. They're like, what do I have? Like, how do I succeed? And so what it really comes down to is the overall calorie allowance you have for the rest of the day. That's what's nice. And using like dinner as an example is like, it's a formula. You've got 300 calories left, or you got 800 calories left, or whatever it is. It's a puzzle piece to see, how do I make it work? And so what I like to think about when it comes to a meal is just simply, where is my protein source coming from? That is always first and foremost, because if it has no protein, I don't want it. Where's my veggie coming from? And then what's my carb source, right? And there will be some things where there's fat, you'll maybe get like avocado in there. Some things will even have oil if you're cooking and whatnot. So that is totally fine. But I just think it's such an easy formula to think about when you look at a plate. That is just so simple, right? And like an easy example would just be chicken breast with roasted potatoes and broccoli, right? Like obviously some people may think it doesn't sound too exotic, and some people could get bored of some things, and it's ultimately up to you and what you can make work. But what's cool is you can always make it based off of what you need, right? So if you need a lot more protein, you can have a double up of chicken breast, and you can make that work, right? A couple other different examples would be extra lean ground beef taco bowls, right? There's different things like one of my staples, I really like salmon, but it is a little bit higher in fat, so it depends on the day. So sometimes I'd have salmon, that's the protein source, quinoa or rice, which would just be the carb source, and then like asparagus or green beans, right? Like you can kind of see the picture is just what we're trying to do here is just keep, and this is what I like to call simple, right? There's a lot of people who are way better cooks, way better planning, way better at putting stuff together. But when I kind of look at it, I feel like it's a lot easier to break it down into just like kind of simple things, especially if you're someone who maybe overthinks things or just will be like, oh, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to have nothing. Even when it comes down to it, even turkey burgers have just been a go-to for the last few years. So I'll have 2 turkey burgers. I'll have 2 buns. If I don't have the calories and the carbs for 2 buns, maybe I'll just put it onto 1, depending on the size of my lunch. But it's just all a matter of making it work based off of what I have available, planning ahead, and just really thinking about the protein first and then building from there. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I always just like to experiment. I try to have like a healthy fiber filled option. Obviously I lead with a protein option, and then you can kind of work in based off your calories, what you have. I just think everyone's so different. You can take dinner so many different ways and really just do what feels best for you. I'm being really big into stir fry lately. We like beef burrito bowl type things. I find tacos are always a reasonable option that you can kind of work the macros on. I know a lot of people might not feel that way, but lean ground beef is like a little bit more of a treat, obviously a little bit more caloric than like a chicken, but it is a good option. You can explore your turkeys, barbecue. You can always just kind of build off of that. So I think when you just go into it like a core of like, how can I have this balance, and just kind of see what works for you and take your own spin on it. And a really good thing that's not played heavily enough, I think, is taking your favorite options and building healthier versions of them. If you love a burger, like find a more realistic thing. I actually, if Costco wasn't so crazy yesterday, I was going to film, we have like these keg burgers here, and I think they're like maybe 40 or 50 grams of fat a burger. Like they're pretty freaking intense. And then Costco, and like they're only like 20 protein, which is absurd. And then Costco has a top sirloin burger, which is actually phenomenal macros. I've mentioned before, I like that gauge of more protein than fat. Generally, that's how you know it's a better source of protein. They're reasonably caloric, and I'll have one of those in turkey burger, usually with 2 of the smaller buns. And I think it's like 800 calories for me to have like 2 solid burgers, and like it's kind of a fun spin on it, right? Whereas I can have a really low quality burger, like I mentioned, on a massive bun, and it'll be 1,000 calories, worse macros, and like less filling. So it's always good to kind of reflect on that. Having a ton of veggie snacks has always been a fun one to me. But I loved all of Kyle's suggestions here, and there's definitely a lot of fun stuff you can experiment with.
Yeah. And like, even I remember we had chicken wraps, and I was just like, why didn't I think of this? Like, Josh, when we were in Florida, it was just so simple. You know, it was like pitas, there's some lettuce, there's some veggies, and then there's just like a ton of chicken. I'm like, I need to do this more often. But what's cool is there's no right way to do it, right? As long as by the end of the day, you've got your right amount of protein, you've got some really good foods in your system, you know, with some just healthy meals, and your goal and your number supports your goals. That's really what matters the most. It's about that, having that flexibility. Like, if I were to sit here and say you can only have this meal, broccoli, chicken, and rice, like, I wouldn't be the right coach. Like, I wouldn't be telling you the right stuff. We have flexibility. There's no food off limits, and you are 100% going to succeed with the right plan, with the right numbers, and with the right accountability and support.